Does the property need work to put $15,000 into it? What up, champs? Give me a few minutes. I'm just doing some stuff behind the scenes. We'll get ready to rock right here in 5 to 10 minutes, okay?
Sounds good.
Hey, Dustin, how's the baby?
Baby is doing much better. Just has a little bit of bronchitis now. It moved from RSV to bronchitis, so just keeping up treatment for stuff. The little dude.
Okay, that's such good news. I'm so happy.
Yeah, that was an adventure. Come from San Diego, 2 kids with RSV, 1 hospitalized. We're just lucky that it didn't go to pneumonia. That would have been really bad. So we're just counting our blessings and doing what we can.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Thank you, you as well.
Thanks.
Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? How's everybody doing? I said, how's everybody doing?
Hey, Carlos. How are you? How was your Christmas?
Rocking and rolling. We're busy right now, so praise the Lord, right? Thank God. Thank God things are moving forward. So yeah, it's good. Very good. Thank you. How about
Good.
yourself?
It was nice. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, Christmas was it was pretty chill. I ended up working like till like 6 o'clock both Saturday and Sunday, but I had a lot of fun with my family. We played a lot of like new games I've never played before. There was this game where it was pretty fun. They like got a whole bunch of saran wrap and they would put like little presents in the saran wrap and then wrap more saran wrap over it a whole bunch of times and then another present and wrap it over and over and then another present. So you get this huge ball of saran wrap with like 10 or 15 little presents in there. And like gift cards and like, I don't know, face wipes, chapsticks, like just a whole bunch of little different types of presents. And basically what you do is you have to roll it. So there has to be like it's like on the table, whatever. And there's a group of people standing around the whole table, all playing. And the one that is going to be trying to unravel the ball has to wear like mittens, like gloves, like kitchen mittens, like, so it's like very hard for you to grip things. And then the person to the left of you, it has a 2 dice and they have to roll the dice and they have to keep rolling that dice. So while they're rolling the dice trying to get a pair, while they wait, the person who has the mittens on is supposed to try to unravel this thing and try to get as many presents as possible. And it's fun because sometimes you can roll the dice and on the first round you get a pair. So then they can't even have the chance to put on the gloves or take it off. It was great. I've never seen it, but it was so fun. My mom got involved in it. And she has like arthritis and all this injury. And she was rocking and rolling. And we're like, what happened to your arthritis right there? Just went out the window? Were you lying?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
What happened? But it was fun. It was really fun. We had a lot of, we did karaoke. We did a couple other games that I haven't played before with like a few dollar bills and some dice again. And so it was cool. It was very cool. I enjoyed it.
Good.
What did you do?
I was so lazy because I had COVID and it's just really affected my, so I had went to the cardiologist 3 times last week. And so, he just said that I have inflammation around my heart and it's just going to take a little while for it to, go away. So on Christmas Eve, I went out and I bought aloe vera juice because it's supposed to help with inflammation. So I've actually been drinking that and I'm like, I could actually walk without having to like try to catch my breath, right? So anyway, did Christmas with the kids and then I don't know, have you ever seen those murder mystery games where you're trying to find like who the like you have to read all the evidence and you got a question, you're going through and reading the questions that the police officers have asked and you're trying to figure out who the murderer is, right? Yeah, we did that.
That's cool. I watched some comedy like series with my lady Netflix where it was like a murder series. And it was super funny because I forgot all the actors' names in there, but they're pretty well known. But it was funny because there's a few actors that actually, they had roles and they had 3 main actors in there that had to freebase it. So they even tell you in the beginning of the series, like, hey, we're gonna have these additional actors come in here and not give them a script or a role. So they're gonna have to go with it. And it was so funny because like everybody else was in character mode and you can see everybody was laughing, like the actors were laughing in parts where it shouldn't have been laughing, like when there's murders. And they're like, this is retarded, like laughing hardcore. I thought it was amazing because, they just threw in some actors and they're like, here you go. We're just going to put you in there and go with the flow. Okay. And so I thought it was really cool. Very, very funny.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a murder mystery. So I haven't played any of those games yet, but, I just started recently watching some and those are very cool.
Oh, yeah. I'll binge watch the murder, like on Investigation Discovery. Like my daughter is, she's all into that stuff.
Nice. I don't really watch too much TV. I watch it when I get off of work and stuff. So when I spend time with my lady, and it's usually like late night. And so it's not like I can do much, right? A while when nightlife is only out there. So either go to like a restaurant or bar or let's hang out. So we'll play Scrabble sometimes, or like watch some shows that she's watching so I can spend some time. But even at that time too, like I'm usually on my phone, like responding to things. So it's like I'm trying to focus a little bit more on that. But yeah, I haven't played games or watched TV too much. And I think if I was single that I probably would work 24 hours a day and like maybe sleep for like 2 hours or something and just keep grinding. But yeah, so only times I really watch TV is when somebody else in my family is like, hey, let's hang out. And that's like the opportunity to watch TV, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I gotcha.
So let's do this. Let's get into some calls. Who we're gonna call. So I got to call Rigo's lead, Mason, Daniel's lead, Nick's lead, Haley's lead. Okay, cool. So I got a series of leads today, and let's see if we can close some deals. I just got a signature on one property today, and then I just sent out another purchase sale agreement right now. And then right after this, I'm drafting a third purchase sale agreement, and then hopefully we close anything today so we can finish off the month strong. Cool. So who's here? Let's see. Mason. Let me call your seller after Rigo, so we can get Rigo's out the way since we couldn't get a hold of him yesterday, or he didn't have time. He was on a tractor or something. So we'll call Rigo's lead, and then we'll go ahead and call your lead because I definitely want to jump into that call and see if we can help this guy out.
Sounds good, man. Thanks.
No problem. And Rigo has a second one. He just texted me. Perfect. Send me the details. All right, Rigo. So this guy, Walter, he's the guy that was open to like 480 grand or something like that for a purchase price, even though he's holding 430, right?
Yeah, so I believe he said he wanted 420 and then it sounds like he raised the price, right? But the house does need a lot of work. I know he said his dad was renting it out to someone and they weren't even making enough to Can you hear me?
You said it does need a lot of work?
Yeah, he said it needs some work. Because apparently the lady his dad was renting it to, like she didn't really take good care of it. Yeah, so they basically weren't even getting enough rent to cover the mortgage. So yeah, I think he's kind of like done with it from what it sounds like.
That was literally like a deal I was working yesterday where they didn't even have enough, like they were losing money every month, like $300 on it. And
Oh
it was in
man.
California and it was COVID forbearance, so they couldn't raise it. It was just like, what a sad thing to live out here in California sometimes. Oh man. Okay, so here we go. I got the address right here. Give me 1 second, guys. Does anybody have any questions for me on any leagues that they're working on? Something, a question they couldn't overcome? I'm working with some agents. Is there anything out there that you guys are a little bit disturbed with? Something that you guys need a little bit more clarity on? You guys are masters, huh?
No, we're not masters.
I'm just playing. I'm playing. Did you guys hear me pitch the Novation yesterday for like the first time? And
I
how that
missed it,
goes?
I
man.
missed you. Can I get a little bit of extra lettuce?
So
You
so
did
the
Novation
Novation,
yesterday with who?
I always thought the Novation was like a fix and flip opportunity. And so basically what a Novation
Okay.
is basically partnering up with a homeowner and not having to pay out of your pocket for the purchase price. And it could be a lot of things you could do now that I'm aware. It's not just like fix and flip opportunities. It can be like maybe like a short-term rental opportunity, maybe listing it with them opportunity, things like that. And so before I used to pitch it in a scenario where a homeowner, this is what I did yesterday. I'm gonna go ahead and get on a whiteboard right here. So once I jump on this whiteboard, you guys could let me know if everybody can see the whiteboard. I'm just bringing it up right now. Okay, so you guys can all see it, right? Novation. Okay, so basically what a novation is what a little bit what I explained, and how it works is, let's say that your maximum allowable offer, everybody can see what I'm doing, right, on the whiteboard?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So in a scenario,
It looks a
where obviously
little zoomed in though, Carlos. Maybe can you zoom out a little bit? I'm already at 100%.
you have to zoom out on your side.
Oh, I do? Okay.
Yeah, there's like on the bottom right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Got it.
I used to do the same thing, bro. I'm not even tech savvy. I didn't even know we had this until like a month ago. Otherwise, I would have done so much more for you guys. But so what innovation is basically like that. You're partnering up with the homeowner in a scenario where there's still a potential deal, but it doesn't make sense for you to lock it up at your maximum allowable offer. I mean, it doesn't make sense due to the fact that the homeowner is not agreeing with you on what your offer needs to be at. So here's an example. Let's say that you need to be at $250,000 on this property for it to work for a wholesale opportunity. Let's say this property, the homeowner wants 300 grand, and let's say the ARV is like 350, 360. Well, we know that our maximum level offer isn't going to work. So in a scenario, even if it's turnkey, or like in a scenario where it needs a little bit of work, maybe like 10, 15, 20 grand, or it's a substantial amount of work, the numbers would just be adjusted, obviously. But in a scenario where the homeowner is given a discount, but it's not sufficient enough for it to work as a wholesale, usually we walk away from these deals, or we'll just pitch creative. And now that I'm more aware of innovations, it's now like a strategy that I want to use. And what happens is, let's say that this is where they need to be, right? 300 grand. And I go ahead and tell them that I need to be at 250 for X amount of reasons. And I'm telling them, and they're like, no. So they decline my 250 grand. Well, in a scenario like this, let's say that this house was turnkey. Or let's just say this house was turnkey, meaning that, you know, it doesn't really need much work to just be sold right away or rented out. And in a scenario where this maybe needs a little bit of renovations to get this ARV right here. Well, it would be a simple pitch, and it works like, basically you would partner up with the homeowner, and the way that I used to pitch it for more of a fix and flip would be something like this. It would be like, hey Laura, I know that my offer cash, it didn't work with you at 250. That's where I need to be for it to work. And typically I'm like, let me ask you, where the other investors were they offering the numbers that I were offering? Yeah. Okay, that's because that's where we need to be on a cash offer. And then to like for me to get into this conversation, knowing that there's a little bit of room in there that could make sense, I'll tell them, well, hey, there might be a way that I can make this work for you on a cash offer. But the thing is, would you be willing for me to partner with you on this property where I come in and I could bring the funds and the renovation crew, and I renovate it so that we can get it up to market price, which is 350, 360. And then we listed it together. We paid the agent once we sell, and then I keep the money that I put into, I get reimbursed the money that I put in for the renovation. I keep the difference from the 300,000 to whatever's remaining after my reimbursement. Would that work with you? The simple pitch meaning that, hey, what if I was able to give you 300,000 more, but hey, do you think that I can come in, renovate this property for you? Meaning I come in and I partner with you. You don't charge me the $300,000 up front right now. I go ahead and renovate it so we can get it up to 350, 360,000. I go ahead and maybe spend $20,000 to get it up to that ARV price of 350, 360. We list it together for 350, 360. We get it sold. We pay the agent together, and then we give you the 300, and I take the difference from my reimbursement and then my portion. And the reason why that's more attractive is because the end buyer now doesn't have to spend $300,000 out of their pocket to then turn around, renovate it, spend another 20 grand. So they're all in 320. They list it for 350, 360, pay an agent commission in there, and then only come out with, you know, $10,000 profit. That's not even 10% of 320,000. 10% would be 32,000. So it's not very enticing or attractive. So why Novation becomes attractive to somebody is because if I come in here and all I had to do was spend $20,000 to do the renovations and list it, and I made $15,000 to $20,000 on top after reimbursing myself, that's like a 80 to 100% cash on cash return. Now that's more attractive because I didn't actually have to spend the 300 plus the renovation and then the commissions. Does that make sense? The ones who didn't know about innovations, did that kind of make sense to you guys right now?
Yes.
Yeah, it made sense to me. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you are agreeing to a certain amount of profit to the seller, no matter what you make after you put the money into flipping it, right?
Yeah. So in a scenario, they want to stand firm. Let's say Laura wants to stand firm at 300, but literally nobody's giving her that because everybody's like, yo, we buy this cash. Like, it makes no sense for us to buy at 300 if there's only $50,000 to be made after commissions, and then if there has to be a light rehab, that's not a spread, because at 300,000, most fix and flippers, fix and flip, they want to be at 10 to 12% on their money, which 10 to 12% of 30,000 is 30 to like 35 grand. But then if they have to put renovations, so let's say it did cost 20 grand, so now they're at 320. Well, 10% and 12% is 32,000 and like, you know, $38,000. That's where they would need to be, but they wouldn't be able to if they had spent 320 and then had to pay an agent commission, you know, upwards of 4 to 6%, right? Because 10% of 360 is 36 grand. So you cut that in half, right? You cut that in half at 5%. That's like 18,000. So no matter what, the commission to an agent would be 15 to 18,000. So you think I spent 320 grand, and then I had to spend, you know, this right here for the commission. So I'm upwards of 335. to 338. And then I sold it for 360. So what did I make? I made what, 10, 12, $22,000. That's what so 22,000 after spending 320 grand, that doesn't even make 10%. So you're only making like 6 to 7, maybe 8% on your money. That's not an investment for an investor at all. And fix and flip's more of a marketing campaign type of thing. It's not really like a true investment and things like that. It's more of a flip. So it's like a wholesale type of deal, right? It's active income that comes in, but it's not an actual investment type of thing. So that scenario doesn't make sense. But in a scenario where we gave them 300,000, or we said, hey, we can do this at 300,000, but if you let me come in and renovate it. So in reality, the fix and flipper comes in and only drops $20,000 to renovate it. We list it for 360, we get it sold. We go ahead and minus $15,000 to $18,000 in commissions. And you guys scroll down if you need to on the whiteboard so you guys can keep up with me. So after that, you're left with 345 to like 342,000. So if we came in and said, let me partner with you, basically, don't let me pay this 300,000 because I can't give you that number unless I do it this way. Obviously, all of us other investors are offering it 250,000 for it to make sense cash. Well, the only way that I could basically do this, unless you're doing it on terms or whatever, this is another way to do it. Let me do it like this, how I explained it. Let me come in, partner with you, bring my crews, renovate it, let's go list it, and then we get it sold for 360. We pay the commissions out together, and then I take the difference from what I'm going to pay you, which is the 300. So I'm going to scroll down. So if we end up getting $345,000 in our pocket after paying the commissions. Well, 300 is going to Laura, to the seller. And then there's $45,000 left. $45,000 will reimburse my 20 grand. And then my profit is 25,000. Now my cash on cash return is what? If I spent 20 grand and made 25, I'm at what? I'm at 120% cash on cash return. Isn't that exciting? A lot more exciting on your money, though it's the same numbers, but what happens is now the end buyer, if it's not me, you guys as fix and flippers, don't have to spend $320,000 out of their pocket. They only had to spend 20,000 out of their pocket just to renovate it. They list it together. And now that becomes an enticing deal for somebody, and you can wholesale that deal as well on Novation. Now, I always thought about it as a fix and flip opportunity, but now that there are properties that are almost turnkey that are not fix and flip that they want more. So in the same scenario, let's say we need to be at 275 because it's more turnkey. They want 300. ARV is 350. ARV asking MAO maximum allowable offer. Everybody just scroll down if you can see it on the whiteboard. So in a scenario where this property is turnkey, yesterday how I pitched it, because I just started learning how to pitch on turnkey properties. And I didn't remember exactly the script because I'm not a script guy. I hate looking at scripts. I'm a true salesman. I'm a closer. So like I learned how to pitch things on my own. So, and I remember they did have some type of they had put some verbiage like equity, type of equity program or whatever. So in a scenario where now let's say that this may be an opportunity for you to go to Novation, I would still try to lock it up at the 300 and then afterwards have a conversation after it's locked up and then talk to them like this. I just pitched it up front though. So I said, hey, listen, I can't give you 300,000, Laura. I need to be at 275 due to a lot of reasons, interest rates, markets being unstable, whatever it is. This is where I need to be. But if you were to list it yourself, what would you list it for? Right. Sometimes I ask questions like that. And let's say she was like, I don't know, 330 or something. And then after you pay out your commissions and everything, you're gonna walk away with about 300. She was like, yeah, right. So then I would say this. Well, typically, if you were to list it, you would have to you would have to renovate or clean up or touch it up. Then you have to pay an agent and you would have to pay the closing costs and things like that. Right? So what if I was able to come in and give you 300,000, but I wouldn't be able to buy it up front like cash right away? This is how I would do it. Since I do fix and flips, I have an equity program. And when I do work with agents on my fix and flips, typically we get a lot of potential homestead buyers to come in and bring their own traditional financing. And then there's always a list of people that end up not buying the property due to the fact that somebody bought it first, it's first come, first serve. So if I have 10 people interested on one property, they now get subjected onto a list where I can call them in the future deals that I'm fixing flipping in the area. So I have a lot of homestead buyers that are ready to buy, and I have my own agent and my own MLS access that I can use. And I have my own payroll, my own staff that I have to pay for this. But what if I was able to come in here and call my list, call my agent to call back and see which of these potential home buyers want to come in, look at this property, bring their own financing, and then I pay my staff and I pay the agent and I pay for everything that I need to pay, and you're still able to net 300,000. Would that work if I was able to bring somebody else in here and they brought their own traditional financing, so it's all cash, and then you get 300, and then I have my potential home buyer pay me my fee on top? Would that work? And that they basically said yeah to me yesterday. And the reason why I say it like that is because if you don't structure it that way, they can be like, well, what the fuck's going to stop me from listing it? Right? So that's why I'm like, hey, well, let me pay my team, pay my agent. So then you don't have to pay an agent if you were to list it, and you don't have to pay for cleaning or any of these things. Let me take care of this. Let me call my list of potential buyers that weren't able to buy on the other fix and flips and see if they would like this property. So yeah, they may come in and actually look at it and then go to the banks and get their own traditional financing. It could take 30 to 60 days for this to happen. But if I was able to give you that number, would it work? And that's the pitch. Now there is some special documentation and stuff like that you'll need, but that's basically pitching an innovation. I really never pay attention to it. Kind of like how I do a lot of raps and notes, and most people are like, when I break it down, they're like, whoa, I never paid attention to it. Well, people are missing opportunities when they don't see raps or know how to sell notes. Same thing here. I was missing opportunities. There are 3 reasons why people don't buy or sell on terms. Number 1 reason is due to the fact that the investor on the phone doesn't know how to make it crystal clear, because a seller may have never heard of it. Number 2 is because the seller truly needs a certain number that they want, or a certain amount of money down that they need for something. Or number 3, that just because they don't want to. That's it. And so in a scenario where you understand innovations now, that is now an opportunity on the table. And now that I'm aware of it, I'm not going to walk away from it. That's basically what the innovation is, guys, and how I pitched it. And it was crazy because right after I pitched it, Jesus got a phone call after I got off my call. Jesus got on a phone call, and then he even pitched the innovation, and they basically accepted it, and he replayed the call, and we were all able to hear it too. So it was back to back within like 15-20 minutes. We both pitched innovation together on different deals that we're working on, and they were like, oh, I'm open to that. And so now we have a conversation today to see how we're gonna move forward on them. But what it is it allows you to come in and make a deal out of something, and you're the one basically just listing it for them. You're the one that's going to list it for them and do that, and then you get paid to do it, which is pretty dope because it's like a wholesale fee. Make sense, guys?
So technically, it would be better if it was already renovated, because all you would have to do is just list it, right?
It doesn't mean that either. It's nice, but like in a scenario where it's not renovated, you don't even need to list it with an agent. If you lock it up for a fix and flip, like let's say the same thing with the fix and flip. Let's say that, yeah, I need 50 grand worth of work and the ARV is 450 and they want it 325, but we need you to be at 275 and everybody else is at 275. Same thing. What if I was able to give you 325 and they said, yeah, and you pitched them like, let me partner, let me bring in my crews and do this stuff. Then what you would do is you don't have to use an agent. You just go to call your fix and flippers and say, hey, I locked this deal up on a novation, so you don't have to actually pay for the house. You just got to pay for the renovation cost plus my assignment fee. Are you down for this? Most likely they're going to say yeah, because they're like, wait, I don't have to go and use hard money and pay for the whole amount of the property and actually have to pay a monthly bill, like a monthly interest only payment. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. You just gotta pay me my assignment fee and then renovate the property and then list it with them. They're like, well, hell yeah, I'm gonna do that. So it works in a fix and flip opportunity. That was the only way that I had to pay attention to it. I did not know you can do a turnkey. And now that I'm like, oh shit, you can do a turnkey, even if it needs a little bit of light work, like paint and cleanup, that's still fine.
Hey, are you using, I guess for a homestead buyer, if let's say it's not a flipper doing this and you're partnering with them, if it's a homestead buyer, are you maybe suggesting that they use like a 2 or 3K loan to get this done? Like the
Nah, I just
rehab
tell them
or
what they need to do to go get it financed, you know?
just regular financing?
Well,
Gotcha.
reality, we're not really bringing our end buyers. It's just a pitch. We're literally getting we're getting the agent to list it and bring the potential end buyers, you know?
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just a pitch. So it sounds like we have things lined up, right? Make sense?
Got it.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and call up. Or any other questions on that one, guys, before I move forward and start making some calls? Is anybody confused on that? I know that it was the first time I pitched it yesterday. I never really break it down. I'm like the rap guy, the notes guy. So I break that down a lot besides me being the creative finance guy. But is anybody confused on that? Or do you guys have any questions on that so I can clarify that before we move forward?
The more you talk about it, the more I understand it for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna start building content on Novations now that I'm excited about it. Cool. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and call up this seller. So give me 1 second. All right, everybody on mute, please.
Please leave your message for 951-515.
You didn't call twice. You didn't call once, guys.
Please leave your message for 951-515-3634.
Hey, what's up, Walter? This is Carlos. I spoke to you briefly yesterday about your property off of Sierra Vista and Riverside. And we talked a little bit about seller finance, but you were busy. Can you give me a call back or text? This is my cell phone, 760-902-7843. Thank you. Let me shoot him a text real quick. Right. So Mason, let's call yours and then we'll call Rigo's second deal and then Aaron's deals. Cool. So Mason, let me see. I'll go back to my messages. All right, Mason, so catch us up to speed. We're calling it a fix and flipper, right?
Yes, well, he says he's been flipping. I don't know if he calls himself a flipper, but he's been doing some flips. I imagine he's got some rentals there too. This one's been 47 days on the market and interested in doing creative. He's kind of familiar with it, but kind of wants to see real numbers and whether or not we can help him out with his financial situation regarding the current financing he has on the property. So I don't know what we can do, but maybe we can pitch some ideas to him, and maybe we can even do innovation like this guy in this scenario. Who knows?
I don't know if we can do Novation due to the fact that if he's had it listed, it's already basically at that point, you know?
Oh
Where
yeah.
usually
Okay.
usually we're gonna list it on a Novation. 47 days on the market, but it's listed for
Listed at 499.
all right, so he probably just wants that higher price because obviously you can just drop the price a lot more.
Right.
It's probably all right,
Which
cool.
he was entertaining that thought. He kind of knows it's a little high, but we'll see.
All right, cool. Let me go ahead and call, and he knows you by your name.
Yes.
Okay,
And he owes 275 ballpark.
cool. Open to less than 50K down. Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Aaron? This is Carlos. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Did Mason let you know that I was going to be calling you?
Yeah, he didn't give me a name. Just said guy he partners with lender be giving me a call and be around 5:30 or so. And he said it'd be a little bit later. But yeah, he mentioned someone would be calling.
Yeah, typically I'm like the money guy. I'll usually write the checks on
Okay.
the deals that make sense for us. And so he kind of brought me up to speed a little bit, said that this is a property that you were working on as on like a flip opportunity. You've had it listed for about 47 days. I just brought it up on my laptop right now. You're asking 499 and then you have a debt in place for like 275, correct?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'd have to double check what
Okay.
payoff would be, but somewhere around it.
Are you using hard money?
We are. Yeah, we're on a bridge loan with them.
Okay. And so like I do buy a lot of properties on creative finance. I've actually bought on a lot recently from new builders, fix and flippers and new construction due to the fact that, nobody expected the market to go down and nobody expected for the prices to go down and the interest rates go up. So it was like a lot of people weren't able to achieve the number they wanted to achieve. And so I was able to do it by purchasing on seller finance or on some type of term creative financing. Are you aware of how it works?
Yeah, we are aware. I know there's a couple different ways. We talked about a different way that might work for us, but yeah, interested to hear, kind of your side of it.
Yeah, typically we can pay those like market prices or a little bit higher as long as we get a term that makes us money. So typically we do the same. We do fix and flips or whatnot, but obviously we need a better number. But when we do buy it at market price and it's market ready, what we look at and how we make money is what money do we need to give down and then what payment are we making to that seller every month, and then that payment just needs to be less than what market rent is, so then we make some positive cash flow every month in there.
Sure.
So let me ask you, have you tried to refinance or check in with other banks to see if they would give you like a traditional loan and see what they would give you on an interest rate?
We haven't on this one. We have other rental properties where we do are able to refinance out. This one just wasn't going to be one of those just because we weren't planning to keep it long term.
Got you. Would you be, so I don't purchase them with hard money because they would have to do the same thing. Would you be opposed to going to get a quote maybe and seeing if you could do a refinance and if you were able to get some good financing on this? What we can do is we could buy it from you at that higher purchase price and give you some money down and then be responsible for the payments. Now, just the payments would need to be a little bit less than market rent. So I'm thinking if we did buy it at 500 or whatever, 499, all it is we got to find out what is your debt payment, what's that interest rate, what do you owe to that, and then we're going to see the spread from what that payment is to what market rent is. And then typically we still got to break down money to your equity from the difference of 275 to 499. So there have to be some money that goes down towards that equity, and then a monthly payment to that. And then I get to keep some for myself on when I rent it out to a tenant. The tenant will pay all the bills basically. But that's kind of how it would work. Would that work with you if you were able to go and get some type of financing on this?
We could reach out to our lender who kind of does our traditional ones. I just don't know if there is a real workaround on that, because we've kicked it to them before on a couple different, or actually there's one other property that we've looked at doing that. I think what Mason was trying to say was, hey, if you guys buy that loan out using your private money lender, then our equity play on the end, we could come up with terms on that. Is that not
Well, you could do that like if you had a private, just basically if you were able to get the hard money and get that out for us, because we don't typically buy hard money because it won't make sense to us. But either if you use some type of private money, because we basically use a lot of funding from other people as well, fund deals. So if you had some type of private money, traditional loan that can actually refinance the hard money out. Okay, how much money am I giving down, and what am I going to be able to yield annually on that? And then if it makes sense, then we can just move forward on it. I have a 2021 build in Cove, Texas that I just bought. That one was due to a homeowner recently getting married and then splitting early. They had just bought the house in January of this year. They listed it. It was listed for the exact mortgage price. They were going to lose money with the realtor. The realtor knew that what I could do as far as buy it this way. I ended up giving money in the pocket of I gave some money into the homeowner's hands, and then I actually paid the agent myself, and then I took it over on payments. And the same thing, I just bought one in Conroe, Texas, 2022 build. The homeowner had just graduated, got her master's degree, and their whole family owns business and real estate in Atlanta, in Georgia. And she decided she'd rather move over there, but she's had the house for like 6 months. So I went in and I gave her like 10 grand. There's no equity. And then I took over the payments, and I made a little spread in there from what I owe to their debt to what I can rent it out for. So it works. Right now I'm working on 3 new builds from a developer in Deer Park, Texas. And same thing, same thing's happening. So he just wants to be able to maximize. He's not hurting. He has money. He paid his own money for those properties, not using hard money. And we're working on some type of creative finance opportunity where, hey, they can make some money on top of their money. And then I come over and make payments on it. And my goal is to make payments on it just until I can refinance it. So I just want to wait until the market stabilizes, rates come back down, and then I will refinance you out. So it doesn't need to be like a 30-year term, though I like doing 30-year terms, but it could be like, 5, 7 years, 10 years or whatever. And it also depends on, what you're open to, or you and your partner are open to. And if we're talking about interest as well, how much more money do you want to make on X amount of years as well?
Right. Yeah, I think for us on this one was just, can we cash out completely, or if it's terms, shorter terms, can we come to? We didn't really want to hold on to the financing at all. Really, what we were trying to look at is, okay, if he was saying, he has his own private money folks who can, buy us out of that, and then the equity on the side would just be between us, while whether it's a cash deal, paying off the loan, or whatever rate you get for the private money on that side. And then, so we're not, on the loan anymore. So you're saying,
okay. So I misunderstood it. So Mason possibly said that, hey, what if we brought 275,000 and then you financed us the rest?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, so there is an opportunity. So there's an opportunity that I can do that. It just, I would get hit with higher rates. So the way it would work would be, I may be able to call one of my companies that may be able to give me 60, maybe a little bit more, 60% plus of the purchase price. And then would you be willing to carry the difference if that worked? Like you would carry 30-40% difference? Because let's say 500,000 for the house, just so I can do even numbers real quick. And then we were able to get 60% of that, which is like 300 grand. And then you would carry the rest.
Exactly. So we get some kind of down payment off our equity, then you pay us the equity over, say, a 3-year term, whenever you refinance or whatever it may be, like a balloon or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
we-
That may work. And the reason why is because I would only have to pay like maybe that market rate, but only on a portion of the purchase price. So it wouldn't kill me. Like if I were to get, the purchase price at 500 and then get hit with market rate, then it would only make sense for me to move in there myself. But because then I wouldn't be able to actually make money as a landlord due to me paying 500,000 at whatever the rate is, 8% or whatever it is now. It's about to go up to, I think, 8 by February. So that might even just kill the cash flow in there. But if we were able to maybe come in and get, come in with 300,000 and I got market rate at that payment is obviously less than what market rent is. And then we can factor in some type of payment that makes sense for you and I for a few years. And then all we need to do is just wait till the rates stabilize. And I would just come in and refinance it all over again. And you guys would be completely cleared out.
Exactly.
Would that work?
Yeah, I think that would be more so, we just don't want to carry, the loan any further or go to our guy that, we've got a pretty good relationship. They're more of a traditional lender. But if you were able to buy out the loan amount and then, we just, finance the equity piece of whatever we agree on, for, say a couple of years before you refinance out, rent something, load it or, cash flow for a year or two, or put it back on market when everything gets back. Cause it's, appraised at, 575. So you wouldn't have any problem.
And what's cool too is like the gain portion on this, since you would be holding it for a little longer, you wouldn't actually be hit with that higher percentage. Like typically a fix and flip, you do it within a year or whatever, you get hit at a higher gain. Since this wouldn't be all cash right away, that you would have to pay gains on the entire purchase price, maybe just on that hard money loan or whatever, you pay something on. But
Yeah,
you might be able to save a little bit more money in your pocket doing it this way.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good CPA who can.
Okay.
More.
Perfect. Yeah, I would definitely not CPA, but definitely I would talk to them about how they would structure it.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'd be more open to that. Say, hey, you guys come with X amount. I guess, if they can do 60% of that, you put the 300, which would that would clear out that loan. And then the rest of the portion would basically just be, I guess, taxes on, but yeah, we would just finance, I guess, the rest of the equity in a way. And then, because then that clears that out. And then, we could figure out a number that works and it'd probably be better than buying it outright at 8% too.
Yeah. So as an investor, I would have to get like some type of investment loan for it. So that they would probably want me to put more skin in the game. So it's probably like 60% instead of 70% that they would finance me. And they would probably give me a little bit higher rate, but I would check a couple places for it. And then if that's the way I would look at it then, because I do have a lot of other ways, but the way that it would fit your model seems like this would be the only way or the best way to go about it. Because I would only think that, hey, you just take a bigger discount on the market would be your route. Or if you probably know that too, since you only owe 275, and if you guys discounted it a lot more, it probably would get sold. Or we can still come up with that price, but just the way that we just explained it would probably be the only way that would, I guess, entice you at this moment.
Right. Because we could sit on it. We could rent it out, cash flow it, no problem. And, finance it out. It's just, we just have some we want to rent out, some we want to fix up and cash on. And this is more of a cash out play. So we've got a handful of rentals that we, can kind of do the same thing with. So.
Got you. I got you. Okay, cool. So, well, then let me do a little bit of research on this. I'm going to be able to do it the way that I explained it so that I can clear out your hard money, even give you guys some money in your pocket, me finance it. We'd still have to, after I figure it out, we'd still have to structure, hey, like what payment is going to make sense to your equity. And do you know by chance, since you do rentals in the area, do you know by chance what this thing could rent out for?
If we're gonna rent it out, we'd probably say about 3,500. I mean, it's kind of a unicorn in the area. It's much larger than everything else, much nicer. Yeah, not too far from downtown, but yeah, so it's in a decent neighborhood too, quiet area. But yeah, I mean, $3,500 is probably what you could rent it out for. Short term, probably much higher.
Okay. Do you know if they do? I do have Airbnbs and whatnot. Do they allow short term in the area?
They do. They do. Yeah, Dallas is open. They haven't put any stipulations on it, so Dallas City is pretty much wide open for now.
Okay. Is this is it staged or is it being sold with furniture in place?
Yeah, it's staged.
Okay. Yeah, it looks real nice with how it's staged. I'm just curious. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks good. Look, you got all the new colors in right there. You got all, I see all the gray and then I can see all the flooring. Everything looks real nice, up to date and things like that. So then let me do this so I don't take up any more of your time. Let me go ahead and call around some of my banks and see if they're open to lending to me on this. I can use the photos on here, I can use the address, the listing on it, and see what they'd be willing to work with me on. And then I can possibly get back to you sometime this week.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cool, Aaron. I really appreciate it, man. And do you by chance, do you have anything else in your portfolio that you may be wanting to get rid of maybe on a big discount so I can do a fix and flip, or maybe that you want to sell on terms again?
We don't have anything fixed flip. Usually we do it ourselves or we move it quickly. Do have another one that's under contract. It's a little higher. Do you have any max price point?
No, if it's on terms, I mean, man, I've offered them like a house, like $100,000 over on another house, like, but they gave me a really good term though. Like, so like, it doesn't really matter as long as I get a term, I give you the price that you're looking for, and you just give me a little bit of room on my term.
What?
Got it. Yeah, we do have another one, some more luxury in gallery area Dallas that we fixed and flipped, and then we pulled down, rented it out. It's under contract at the moment. And I think they have another 5 days on that to put their money in to our title company. But yeah, I could shoot you that address too. And yeah, so that appraised about 950. It's worth 950 to $1 million neighborhood, 4-3 ranch, and just a really nice luxury neighborhood. But yeah, if you want to kind of see, if you want to take a stab at that one too, if this contract falls through or not. So
yeah, cool. And then same thing, we can look at it in both ways, seller finance or maybe something similar to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, I mean, we probably wanted to do it the same way because it's turnkey too. So
okay,
you know, everything
even better. Yeah, it's as long as it's like, if you're asking for market price or whatever, as long as it's market ready, then cool. We're cool with it as long as we can make some money in there.
Yeah. So yeah, we're investors too. So there's meat there for to discount a little bit if there's terms similar to this.
Okay.
Higher loan amount, but again, there's much more equity at play, and the values are still holding in the area. So
okay, that sounds great. And let me ask one more question before I let you go, Aaron. Are you actively funding any real estate transactions? Like if I were to call you up and say, hey, can I borrow some money on this house that I'm buying and I'll give you a return, or maybe equity partnership, would you be open to that?
Not at this moment. Just me and my wife are kind of small players. We probably flip 8 to 9 in a year, so that kind of takes us up of what we do with our rentals. We've done some small, money transactions, really just. But yeah, we wouldn't be, open to financing something bigger than that. We've got our lines of credit that we use for our properties, but we're not. It's not that we're shutting it out, but at this moment, we're just gonna kind of stick with what we're good at right now. So
okay, cool, man. No worries. I just I was gonna shoot it out there and see what's available.
Yeah, sure.
Cool, man.
Cool.
If you ever need anything, you have my phone number. I believe I have that address for the second one, 43 Ranch, Dallas. Let me go ahead and take a look at this property, the first subject property, the one off of Huey Drive, and then I'll get back to you this week. Okay.
You have the other one? I don't remember if I.
Oh, I don't know if you said 43 Ranch.
Oh no, it's a 4-3.
Oh, bedroom. Okay, I'm like, okay, yeah, it only has two numbers in the address. Okay, must be a nice house.
No. whenever you're ready, I can give that address too.
Okay, I'm right here. I'm ready to go.
12423 Quincy Lane.
Okay.
And that's Dallas as well.
Okay, so I'll take a look at that. I wrote down what you were asking for, 950. You have 5 days left on the potential seller in escrow. And so we'll just follow up with you if that happens not to go through.
Yeah. I mean, if even before, because we get some other investors on there, but if you're able, on the Healy one, if you're able to do something like that, we can, maybe package them together if the financing's there, or if it works. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me do some research. Let me call some of my lenders, and then we'll go from there.
okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks.
You guys know what I just pitched? What strategy did I use, guys?
Seller finance.
Yeah, but specific exit strategy, you guys know? You guys ever heard of the Morby method?
I was gonna say Morby.
Yeah, I don't know the definition of it, so I can't help you there.
So what happens is when seller finance, he wants me to come in and pay off 275,000 with a little bit of down payment to them on top of the 275. They're listing it for 500. So if you got to bring in $300,000 down plus an assignment fee plus closing costs, let's say we're at $320,000, we have to give down. And then we look, okay, well, how much money can we make every month on that 320 if we can rent it out for 35? Now, I don't know what payment he's gonna allow me to pay him every month, but here's how it looks. Let's say even if he was allowing me to split the 3,500 and I can make 17,500 and he can make 17,500, right? So then you annualize 1,750, you times that by 12 months and you come out with 21,000. Well, if I'm putting in 320,000 and I'm only able to make $21,000 back return in my pocket, that's less than 10%. That's a no-go. Doesn't make sense for me or anybody I know. Like people who have money that I know who are further than me, they want at least 10 to 12%. That's not 10%. 10% would be at least $300 or $32,000 equity spread to them. That would be their actual net cash flow to them every year. So it would have to be like, yo, let me only pay you like $500 a month on this, which you probably wouldn't want to do. So in a scenario where a homeowner wants X amount of money, right? They need a certain amount, right? Because there's 3 reasons why homeowners won't sell their properties or investors won't sell their property on seller finance. And the 3 reasons are: number 1, because you, the investor on the phone, do not know how to explain it and make it crystal clear, because he understands it because he's an investor, but most homeowners never heard of it. So if you don't know how to break it down correctly, you're going to confuse them and they won't understand it. Therefore, they don't want to move forward. Number 2, they need a certain amount of money to achieve something else. So that's the thing. Sometimes even us working out, like we can give you the purchase price and we find out how much money they need, and it's too much for us to actually make a return that makes sense for us on the yield on an annual basis, then we won't be able to go through. So number 1, we don't know how to explain it. Number 2, they need a certain amount of money or money down in their pocket to achieve something else. And number 3, because they don't give a shit. They just don't want to do it. Those are the 3 main reasons, or 3 only reasons I can think of that I've learned and talked through so much. His was like, yeah, I just don't want to do this. I want to get the financing out and we'll carry the paper only on seller finance. So no subject to, he wants us to come in and pay off the 275 plus a payment, right? So the only way that I can think about that is the Morby method, which is go and get an investor loan and go and see what they're willing to finance. So if this investing company, that's myinvestorloan.com or whatever company you're going to use, you find out that they say, yeah, Carlos, I'll loan you up to 70% on that property. Let me go ahead and bring the whiteboard up. So I'm gonna break down now stuff that me as an investor, how I see things, which will help every wholesaler in here or every other creative finance student in here to now foresee the exits, which allows you to see the strategies and allows you to be bolder and more confident and know how to actually communicate and negotiate with sellers or homeowners or investors. So I'm going to bring this up real quick. I said 60% because more or less we might be able to get 70, but if we can keep 10% to get paid, like if we were able to get 300,000 on this, like let's say 500, If I can keep 10%, I can pay myself 40 to 50 grand up front and then still take the property over this way. That's why I said 60, because I know that I might be able to get 70. So, which is, it's just me thinking very quickly. It's going to be a little confusing for you guys because this is more what end buyers look at, how we look at exits and how much money we can make. So I don't typically teach this all the time because it is going to get some people confused. But if you're looking to be your own investor and you're looking to make money every single way, this is the type of thinking that you have to get into to understand, which will actually allow you to be stronger on the phone because you understand things. So 500,000, everybody can see the whiteboard, correct? Somebody say yes, no, side chat, whatever.
Yep, we can see it.
All right, cool. So
Yeah.
you guys need to zoom out. You guys can zoom out so you can see everything. I just zoomed it out real quick. 500 grand. So let's say I get a loan for 70%, meaning I got to bring skin in the game 30% right here. I have to bring my own money or private money lender. Because at the close of escrow, what happens is you still need to bring the skin in the game. You'd have to still bring in 30% to close on it. But once it's closed, once the bank, this loan that's giving me the money, once they see my skin in the game, once it's closed, they're not going to check. They're not going to check on it the next day. So what happens is you can bring an equity partner in here, or just like a transactional lender where they let you borrow the money for a couple of days, and then you return it with a profit on top. And then he's going to go ahead and since he's open for carrying 40%, we're going to go ahead and create a note right after we close on it, the following day or the next day after that, and create it for the difference. And now the transactional lender who bought the 30%, he's out the deal. And now this new note is created by the actual seller. This is a very advanced method. So if you guys get confused, I'm sorry. It's just, it's a nice method. So 70% of 500,000 is 300 grand, which clears their 275 plus puts 25,000 cash in their pocket. Wife and him are cool. They do 8 to 9 flips a year. So that covers them. That's 70% though. Oh wait, no, that's 60%. Let me see, 500. That was 60. Yeah, it's 60%. So, and I did that on purpose. Like I said, I'll explain why. So 70% of 500,000 is 350. 350K. Reason why I said 60 is so then if I buy this house for myself, which I might want to, I get to pay myself $50,000 in the deal. That's why the Morby method is really dope, because you can pay yourself hefty fees and then the tenant will start taking over the bills anyways. So it's a great deal, really great stuff. Or at the same time, if I got to pay this transactional lender who let me borrow 150,000, I got to pay them 1% on their money for a day. Then I got to pay them 15 G's or whatever it is. Then I got to pay them 15 grand out of my 50 grand and I keep 35,000. So I said 60 on purpose because we might be able to get 70%. And I didn't want to tell them that I wanted to pay myself up front because that's probably more money than they're going to get right away. Right. So what happens is at 500,000 times 30%, there's 150,000.
What are you doing?
That the seller would carry. That's what the seller would carry. And we would be giving them, we would get most likely 350, but we would have them carry 40%. So instead of giving them 30, we would have them carry 40%.
Daisy, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? So 200,000 is what they would carry. And we would get 300 for 60%, even though I got 70 right here. So we really have 350. This is where it gets a little confusing. It's because I'm just trying to make myself some money up front instead of doing it the raw way, giving them all the money. Why would you want to give them all the money if you can say, hey, would you be open to carrying 40? Might as well keep yourself 10% of that money, right? I'm teaching you guys some stuff. So yes, we would get 70%. So we would get 350, but I let him know I might only be able to get 300. You guys heard it. It's on recorded Zoom. He said, sure. To that. So now there's $50,000 in there that gets to pay me up front, or a wholesale fee included, and maybe the transactional lender that's going to let me borrow the money. So what's gonna happen is I now have 300 to go ahead and pay off his 275, put 25 in his pocket, and then he's gonna come and finance 200,000 on his own. So what I'm gonna do is I now bought the house for 500,000. That's what I bought it for. Now let me see calculator. Let me see what let me see. Hold on, guys. Amortization calculator. I'm gonna take a look at 350,000 on a 30-year term. At let's say 8%. Let's say 7.5%. So if I were to borrow this from from a loan and they gave me 6, 7, 8%, my payment is like 23 to like 2,500, meaning that there's only going to be $1,000 of actual net spread, and that's only $1,000 if we can get the 3,500 rented out. And so it has to be like this. Like, let's say I gave him, I'd have to call him back and say, hey, I got hit with, 8%. Now he thinks I'm only getting 300, but I'm actually getting 350. So I have to put it in an amortization calculator when I'm getting 350 at 7 or 8% over a 30-year term. It comes out to like 2,500 bucks, leaving $1,000 from that payment to, he said, potentially 3,500. So potentially 3,500. So in a perfect world, let's say we can get 3,500. The house is really, really nice. But in a perfect world, we can get 3,500 a month on it. I'd give him that money and then say, hey, would you be willing to maybe let me make all the money and then balloon you out? Or we'd have to split that money in there, maybe like 500 to 600 to me and $400 to you or something like that. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. But let's say that he was open to it. Now I might only make $500, but I'm not putting any money out of my pocket. I'm actually, the bank's doing it. And then my tenant who's paying 3,500 is paying the $2,400 or $2,500 PITI to the PI part, the principal and interest, to the 350 loan. Then I might be paying 400 to 500 to the 200,000 that I still owe them. And then I get to make $400, $500, $600 a month. And I didn't actually have to call a private money lender. I didn't have to put money out of my pocket, nothing like that. So I ended up getting a property. I pay myself 20, 30, $40,000 up front in the deal. Then I get to make $500 and annualize that. It makes $6,000 on this new property that's renovated, meaning it's not going to have a lot of issues right away. Like, I'm not going to have to replace things since it was completely redone, which is nicer for me as a landlord, because if you get something that's new build or completely renovated, it's like roof is done, everything is changed up, probably HVAC system is new, all these things. So it's like, what really is going to mess up. So then typically as a landlord, you have to save like some type of war chest, 15-20% of your actual net proceeds or your gross proceeds every month, just in case the tenant's like, hey, my vent right here is not working correctly, or the plumbing is not working, the drain is not draining correctly, whatever servicing you have to do, it has to come out of your pocket as a landlord. So when the house is completely renovated, how much money do you think I got to really spend in the first, year? Probably that much, right? So we get to make a little bit more. Though we would keep it in a war chest, we don't actually have to spend it like right away. That's basically what a Morby method is. Not everybody understands it. Pace Morby obviously has explained it to us for sub 2 students. Not everybody jumps into it right away, but that's basically what I just pitched. So if you guys were able to hear that, that is a strategy that I just pitched for you guys, so you can understand in that scenario, if they wanted too much money or it didn't make sense, there are other ways that you can overcome that by possibly doing the Morby method. Or in a scenario where he owned it free and clear, I would have asked him to pull a HELOC for 200 or 300 grand, so that I only would pay that high interest rate on that 200 or 300, and then finance the other 200 or 300 at like 0%, which would still make sense for me. But this wasn't free and clear, so I didn't even throw the HELOC out there. Any questions?
I got a quick question. So the remainder of what is it on the whiteboard? I don't see it anymore, but 200K you're gonna bring in someone to do transactional funding for the rest of that 200K. Did I understand that right?
Yeah, you don't gotta explain that stuff to the seller. That's for you
Right.
to understand. Yeah, yeah. So what,
Okay.
what you're trying to, you're gonna be learning some more stuff as well. Mason, I'll teach you that behind the scenes, because that's gonna take time, because it's an investment move. And what happens is wholesalers or even creative finance students who do wholesaling, if you're not buying and you're not actually seeing the exits, you're still confused. Like most people I talk to who do creative financing, they're still confused if they don't own properties, because once you start to own properties or learn how to underwrite, you can foresee things that a wholesaler can't see, because you're seeing the exit. How much money can you actually make? How does this actually work? And so like we do a lot of role play or live calls, but this, what I just explained to you, that's an investment strategy right there. That right there is very powerful, because you guys may have not even known that. And now I just put you on game how to use that in an area where they're open to terms, but they still need too much money. This is an opportunity that you can do where they're willing to carry 40%, meaning that if we did get 70% financed to us through a bank at 7 or 8%, it still gives us wiggle room to make money from the principal interest payment to then the market rent. And there's no money coming out of my pocket, not coming out of my private money lender where I have to give a return, or an equity partner where I have to give half the deal to. I'm just going calling a bank that does this for business, right? And then they're open already to 40%. So now what I would need to do is I would actually need to go call an actual bank. A bank that is a non-recourse loan where they're not going to come check your credit. They're going to check the property, see the numbers on it, see the condition of the property, things like that. And then they're going to go ahead and say, yeah, Carlos, I'm open to financing you. This is what I'm open to giving you, 65 or 70%. And then it's my decision to move forward with that, and then move forward with then calling a transactional lender in here to go ahead and help me out fund the other difference, the other 30 or 40% down for a couple of days, and then I'm out. And then I bring them out, pay them like 1% on the money they gave me. That's what transactional lenders will charge. And then they're basically now out the deal. And now the seller is now carrying a new note for 40%.
Wow. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
teaching us.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Any questions on that? Anybody else? I know it might be a lot of stuff, but feel free to ask questions. Don't just sit behind the scenes and not ask. What do you guys think about that call? And what do you guys think about that strategy?
I jumped in late, but I heard the entail. It was fire. I mean, the guy was super open with you, and you knew what you were talking about. I'm glad you filled us in now with the method, and I'll learn a little bit more about that as we go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody confused on it? Anybody have a question? I'm here to help you guys out. You know, I can only help you out if you ask questions. And here's the thing. A lot of people are a little bit nervous to ask questions, but I guarantee you ask a question and a whole bunch of other people in here probably have that same question. So you just let me know if there's anything else I can clarify.
I'll ask one more.
Sure.
This is probably a dumb question, but I have to ask it because it's dumb. The 200K that you're bringing in for this deal with the transactional funding, what's the point of that if the seller right now is willing to carry that anyways?
So when you go buy a house, anybody's giving you a loan on a property, they're gonna say, I'll finance you 80%, 70%. You gotta go ahead and put the other difference in. So same thing with this bank. The bank's like, yeah, I'll give you 70%, but you have to put the other difference into the property. We want to see your skin in the game. So how am I supposed to come up with the 150 or 200,000 if I don't have it in my pocket?
I see. Got it.
Yeah. Now let's see. I don't really understand the breakdown, how you're getting those numbers to finance it. Well, Kita, I'm not sure if you're an investor, but it's more of an investment strategy. So it could be like mind blowing. It might take a couple times for me to break it down a little slower and explain it a little bit differently for you to understand that part, which I don't mind doing it. And then the next question you put is, and what if they own more than what can you offer? Or what if they own more or owe more than what can you offer? Is that still a deal? So if they owed more than 275, that's what you're saying?
I think so.
Well, remember, I can get 70%, right? So 70% is 350, but they only own 275. So let's say they owed 330. I can still make it happen. Yeah, so if they owe too much in the deal, then yeah, if it's like, yo, they owe 500, they owe 420,000, then yeah, there's no way that this would work at all. It would be like refinance it and sell it to me. That's the only way I can do this, or we can hang up the phone. So it would be that would be the only discussion. Like, hey, since he did have a good spread, that's why the Morby method made sense to me. But since there were, if like, let's say he had no spread, he owed 420, he wants 499, there's no way that I can do that because my bank won't give me 90% on the money. They won't do that. I might have a lender down the road, private money lender that has a lot of money that would do it for me, but at the moment I do not have that. So yeah, it would be more like, yo, refinance this for me and then sell it to me subject to. There you go. Cool. You see how I asked him if he had other properties that he's looking to sell on a discount for fix and flip or on creative finance, and then how I still asked him if he was willing to lend me money on deals.
Yeah, that was a killer move.
Incorporate that. Now we get to look at a second deal. He's not open to lending right now, but what if he was, right? I got a whole bunch of deals in escrow, like 8 of them. I just got a 9th one signed in Atlanta. I just sent one out in Redding, California. If we get that signed today, that's going to be another one that we're going to drop in. I got to send out another one in somewhere in Tennessee that Jesus and I are rocking up right now. So we're rocking and rolling right now. It's because I understand a whole bunch of strategies, and that's why I'm here to teach you guys. Like, don't just look at wholesale. Even just create a financing, the regular seller finance, the regular sub two. There's more strategies. There's this Morby method. There's, hey, pull a HELOC out on the property and then sell it to me subject to, as long as you're not pulling the whole purchase price. So then it makes sense for me to buy it at that interest rate. Or you go refinance the whole thing and then sell it to me subject to, right? Depending on if it's a duplex or triplex, you can have them refinance the whole amount because you're going to make more money than what the payment's going to be. On a single family home, it's a little different, unless it's going to be like a luxury home, because I'm working on a luxury home right now. I'm very close to buying it. It's like 3.5 million, and we might be able to get it done, but I'm going to wholesale it to a luxury Airbnb guy that I met that has already 5 luxury homes in the same city. And that might be one of the biggest wholesale fees I'm gonna make if it goes down, right? Might not go down, who cares? But if it does, great. It'll be a large multiple 6-figure spread. And all it is just understanding strategies. You see how I didn't go back and forth. I didn't have to hesitate with the guy. I didn't have to argue with the guy. I just brought out a couple different solutions and we picked from there. You see, that's why you want to understand how to talk and understand different strategies. So then you can understand which one is the best presentable option for this person, the seller or the investor. Get me? Kita said, what's a balloon? So what a balloon is like a lump sum payment.
Glad to understand.
Where you do multiple balloons in a term, or you do one balloon. What it is, let's say, Kita, you sell your house for 500,000, and I say, let me finance this for 8 years. We come to an agreement where you said, yeah, you can do this, but only for 8 years. Well, in reality, I'm not going to be able to pay you 500,000 in 8 years because those payments would be so large, I would lose money on it. So what happens is, I make payments that make sense, that actually make me money. So it might not be a 30-year, it might be a 30-year amortization schedule or a 40-year, but I only make that payment for 8 years or 10 years. And then I still owe you X amount of money at the end of those 8 years. And then a balloon would be, now I'm gonna have to pay you the lump sum, the remaining difference. And typically you just go to a bank and refinance. So then the bank comes in and clears out the remaining balance. Does that make sense, Kita? There you go. Kita, do you want to say what's up to everybody? Everybody else in here has been here a lot of times, but Kita is brand new into the mastermind. Mason brought her in, and just wanted to see Kita if you wanted to say what's up to everybody. I don't know. Are you open to it?
Yeah, it's just really noisy here, but it's been a pleasure. Everything that you're saying is really interesting, and that's something I'm really interested in doing once I learn how to do it. But the terms is new to me, so that's why I'm asking a lot of questions. But I think I understand it just a little bit, though. But it's nice to meet you all.
Terms is new. You just like, you were hearing like the most advanced strategy in terms. So believe that everything else is going to be a lot easier. That you just happen to jump in and I happen to pitch like a super advanced strategy. Every other strategy is going to be 10 times easier than that one. Okay, that one was just like the last one you're going to go for. You know, So where are you from, Kita? And how long you been in the business of real estate investing or wholesaling?
I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Unity, but I appreciate that welcome. I do feel welcome. But I am from Chicago. I just recently moved to Indianapolis. So my new backyard market is Indianapolis. I'm trying to learn a little bit. But again, I have been working with Mason a little bit, and he's been giving me a lot of helpful tips. And I think he's an awesome person, really awesome. But I mean, I'm into wholesaling, been into wholesaling since 2019. I just haven't had a deal just at the moment, but I'm still striving to get one. So hopefully soon we'll get one down.
We got you. We're here to teach you. We do role plays in the mornings where it's a breakfast club held by Jesus Lopez. And we do a role play where it's just us in here. We go back and forth. And then I do live calls on Monday through Thursday where I actually call my own leads or your own leads, and we go live and I go into exactly how it's going to play out. And then from there, we get to learn on a Monday through Friday basis. But we also have a crap load of other Zooms that we have, like we have reverse wholesaling every week. We have comping with an appraiser every week. We have agent outreach. We have multifamily underwriting, and then we have like a book club as well. And then we're having Bible study now as well. So we have a lot of other Zooms that we do on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, besides these live calls and the role plays that we have.
That's so awesome. And it's so noisy here. That's why I keep muting myself, but it's so noisy. But it sounds like a very interesting program as well. I did see the email that you sent over, and it covers a lot, something I'm really interested in doing as well, because I do need assistance with like building a rapport with sellers, like I was telling you a little earlier. That's just my biggest issue. And again, I've been talking to Mason, and he's been giving me some tips about like how to alter my words around and be with the seller, make them understand this is the way to go, or this is what I can do, things like that.
Sweet. Well, we're excited. Don't worry about being noisy. Typically, my dogs, I have like 4 French bulldogs that live here, and sometimes they're in my office. Luckily, they're asleep right now. But when it's feeding time, everybody knows that my dogs are going to be barking or whatnot. So it's okay. We all have people have children.
Okay.
We all have home offices, so it is what it is. Don't worry about that.
All right, cool. It was so awesome to meet all of you guys.
Yeah, welcome, Kita. So we'll get into a couple more calls. Let me turn on my office light real quick.
Hey, Carlos.
Hey, Larry. What's up, brother?
Hey, I wanted to introduce Anthony Solario. He is I got him in the Powerhouse Breakfast Club this morning. He's 18 years old.
Yeah, I heard about you. I heard about him this morning. I mean, I hear everything. I might not be there, but I founded the Powerhouse, right? So I talk to all the leaders, and I hear. I didn't know his name was Anthony, but I heard about this 18-year-old kid that came in here and got some working with Jesus, and you're at a young age, my man. You're at a good age. At your age, bro, I had already overdosed alcohol poison, that flatline, and been addicted a few different times, bro. It started at like 11 and 12. So it's great to be 18 and be in proximity to a lot of people who are willing to move forward and to do it at a high level, bro. So let's go ahead and hear who you are, Anthony. You got some time, jump off the mic. Let us, if you want to turn on your microphone, your camera, go for it. But let's hear who you are, where you're from, when did you get started, and what you think about the Breakfast Club for the first day today.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. My name is Anthony Solorio. I'm from Central California, Fresno. I got started in real estate midway through my senior year through social media. And then I jumped into YouTube to learn more about it. And here I am. I got introduced to the Powerhouse by Larry. And that's my story.
Sweet, bro. Well, congratulations for coming in, man. I believe we have one of the strongest programs. We have the strongest masterminds. I have an additional mentorship, but I believe that we have some of the strongest closers, strongest role players out there. That's what I train. I come from a background of heavy sales and negotiations. I used to be a car salesman for Ford, Cadillac, Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, Chevy, and my brother was my closer. And so what a closer is, a true closer, not just somebody that's closed a deal. A true closer has just been around every story to then realize that almost every story is very similar to the last. meaning, hey, this deal sounds like the one I did a year ago. That deal sounds like the one we did 3 weeks ago. So a true closer will get the deal done. If not, they're gonna go the distance and then give you a reason why it didn't get done today, why it's gonna take a week or two to get done, or why this is a long-term follow-up or a dead deal. That's the difference of a true closer compared to somebody who's just closed the deal. And I had an opportunity. My brother was in the car game, which he still is, but he was there 10 years before me and he's still there after me. And when I didn't know what to do, when I was scared trying to sell cars and I didn't know how to stand firm, he would show me what to do, how to overcome, how not to be an order taker, how to stand firm, things like that, how to negotiate and how to make it make sense with different strategies. And so I had that opportunity from my brother. And then from there, I've done door-to-door sales. I've done multi-level marketing sales and had my own pieces of pie. I did, I was a director of sales for AT&T, DirecTV, and not like a sales clerk. Like I was paid to go from state to state. So I went to like New York. I had been to Colorado. I've been to a lot of places in California since I live in Palm Springs. I went to Green Bay. Where else did I go to? Ohio, to Cleveland. So I would go to the offices and I would show their door-to-door programs or their sales programs if they were doing cold calling, and I would help them increase. I'd be there for a week and I'd literally increase the whole office sales, the acquisitions department. And then I had stepped out of the game for a few years and I was just breeding French bulldogs for the last 2 years, and I was bored here because there was really no competition, no sales strategies. And one of my buddies introduced me to wholesaling. His name is Omar Lopez. And I ended up jumping in this year, January of this year. First phone call I ever did. I closed the deal and we netted like 47 grand. Second deal I closed was like literally 7 or 8 days later. It was like 50 something thousand. And then I created the powerhouse 2 weeks in. Following week, I jumped into creative financing. And then I just decided to build out the powerhouse. We scaled it out. And then from there, I went back into learning how to buy homes with sub 2 through Pace Morby. And so in about July, I bought my first 4 properties within 18 days of understanding how to do it. And it was all through from there. We started just scaling ourselves. So I'm fairly new to the business. I've only been doing this for about 11 months, going on my 12th month here next month. And that'll cap my first year here. But I own 8 properties. I have 8 in escrow right now. I just signed one right now that I need to drop in escrow, waiting for another signature that'll make 10, drafting one more purchase sale agreement that'll make 11. And we're rocking and rolling. I have a mentorship now with students. I get to train Brent Daniels' course every Friday for the last 4 months. Brent Daniels has the best wholesale mentorship, the #1 and #2 real estate podcast nationwide. I get to coach his team on acquisitions. I coach another mentorship every Monday for Nathan Payne, his reverse wholesaling. I coach acquisitions as well. And then I'm a sub 2 leader as well. I train with a lot of sub 2 students and show them how to close deals. So I've been here for a short period of time, but I took massive action. Had a lot of fun right here. Made a lot of mistakes, almost lost some money. Took some losses the first few months on some of my properties. So I made my mistakes. Almost been sued twice. Been played a couple of times, people had taken deals from me, things like that. So it all happened in within this 11 months, but I didn't let it stop me. So welcome to the team, brother.
Thank you for your story.
Absolutely, man. Cool. Let's rock and roll. Let's get some other deals. Let's go ahead and call. Rio, you said you got, all right, let me see. Aaron, you here? Yeah. Let's call some of you guys.
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, so you sent me everything on email?
Through text.
Okay. With an agent, owners will consider terms that we can pay a good down payment. The property is, okay. Can you send me the agent's phone number?
Yeah. Let me pull it up real quick. It's 931-261-7620.
931-261-7 what?
7620.
Okay. That's his name is Judd or Jude?
Judd.
Judd. Okay. This is 406.
Yeah, this property is like down the street from my house too.
Is it in Cookville?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So only listen for 12 days. Cool, let's take a look. Okay. It's not bad. It's clean. It's not up to standards, but it's clean, not beat up.
Yeah.
Turnkey. It can be easily turnkey and rented out like that, or touched up, painted, and things like that. So 900 square feet. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and call this Judd person.
This is Judd.
Yo, what's up, Judd? How you doing, man? This is Carlos.
Hey, Carlos. I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing really good, man. Reason why I'm giving you a call is you had spoken with my associate, Aaron. He let you know that I was going to call you up about this property you have off of Spruce Ave.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so he let me know that the homeowner may be open, like your client may be open to seller finance. Is that right?
It is. Well, the way they phrased it to me was they wouldn't want to say no until they saw proposed. So yeah, that means they're open to it, I guess.
Okay, so typically like I do like a series of investments. Like I like to do fix and flips, but when I do that, obviously I need to get like a discount so it makes sense for me. And in scenarios where that doesn't work, it makes sense for me to go and buy it this way due to using traditional loans right now with higher rates and the unstable market. Makes it a little bit harder for me to make money as a landlord, meaning whatever my payment is to the seller needs to be less than what I can charge rent for. So in a seller finance opportunity, I've been known as the person that can pay the market or a little bit higher, as long as the monthly payments make sense. So typically there's going to be some money down and then a monthly payment to them. And then do you by chance know what the market rent is on this, like this property? If I were to go ahead and just rent it as is, do you know what it would bring in?
If I had to guess, I would probably say somewhere around 11 to 1200.
Okay, so in a scenario where it was 11 to 1200, I would need to make money in between that. Do you know if the homeowner, your client, do they have a mortgage in debt or in place right now?
I don't think they do.
Okay, so in a scenario, it might be like, hey, I can pay you this price and I can give you some money down. And just depending on that money down, I have to see how much can I annually make a return on. So maybe I might even be able to split them the difference of that 11 to 1200. Maybe if I can get 500 and they get 500 or 6 and 6 or something. So do you think if I was able to do something like that, let's say if I was able to give them 165, now 500 or 600 a month, my portion isn't a lot. So I'm thinking the money down for it to make sense. I typically will do like 5 or 10%. So 5 or 10% is, anywhere from $8,000 to like $17,000 down. And then I make payments to the remaining equity. And that will possibly be, $500 or $600. So then I can make my money in there. Would that work? Or is that something we can maybe present to your seller?
I can absolutely present it. I don't know if it's I don't know if it is something they'd be interested in, but I can absolutely present it to them. So your ideology is to do 10% down back, and then of course we would have to, and you want to make payments, so I'd have to run over to say what kind of construction stuff we're talking about. But you need to be at a payment of somewhere around 5 to 6 at the most. Is that what I'm?
So, and I have to do a little bit of research. Like I would check my websites to see what I think market rent is. So like, let's say in a perfect scenario, it is 1200, well, I would say, hey, I need to make money in there. So yeah, half of that goes to you and half goes to me. So I make money. But in a scenario, we got to also find out if the money down, not only if it makes sense for me, but if it also achieves what they're looking for. Now, on top of this, it would be like, I don't need a 30-year term. It could be, I just need some time for the interest rates to come down and the market to stabilize. So right now I'm typically at a 7 to 10-year term, and I don't mind giving them some money on top, like interest, right? And I typically don't like to give interest, but hey, if they're open to working with me, I can also give them money on top of their money over the term, which will make them net them a lot more than 165,000.
Right. Yeah.
So what would be best if I maybe emailed you an offer or texted you an offer and
That would be great. And text would be fine. If you want to do that and just give me something in writing that I'll present, that I can present to them, and then I'll be happy to do that and get you a response. Okay.
okay. And then just to ask you questions about cash, like have you been having other cash investors or homestead buyers putting in offers, and I guess what are they giving offers at right now?
Well, we haven't had any other offers as of yet. Of course, the property's not been on the market that long, and we're in the Christmas holiday, so. But no, we haven't had another offer yet.
Okay, yeah, because for me, for this to make sense for me to make like my money on cash, what do you think market price is? Like if this were to be like painted and maybe like updated to today's standards, what do you think the new purchase price would be if I were to buy it cash, fix it up, and then relist it with you? What do you think that purchase price would be on it?
Probably somewhere more like 199 or somewhere in there.
Okay. Yeah. So my cash offer probably wouldn't work. It would be like, closer to like 100, 110,000 or something like that. That would be like my cash offer. If they would accept something like that cash.
No, they wouldn't be interested in that. Yeah.
It makes sense because I'm an investor, like a homestead buyer that's going to move their family in there. They'd be the ones that would make it make sense for the higher price. But me, I'm not putting any emotion into it. I just look at it as how much money can I make, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Cool. Let me do this then. Let me go ahead and text you over what I think that would work for me, and then we can go from there.
That'll be fine. I'll be happy to present it to them. Okay.
Cool, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Any questions on that, guys? Aaron, you see how pretty much simple it is on those ones. Since it is an agent, it's kind of like we got to present an offer so that they can submit it. And since he doesn't know too much just yet, he doesn't know exactly what they'd be open to on terms, whether they need a lot of money down. So me having to submit the offer, we're going to find out. And I'm probably going to submit them, their asking price just to make it simple. And I'm going to probably put a nice term in there, 8 to 10 years. And I'll make the term look nice. So remember, guys, lowest amount of money down and no interest is amazing. But when you buy creative, you could be the one that overpays the price, that pays interest, and gets a nice term in there for you to make money. We can do it. So I don't mind paying 165, 180. What if they're allowing me to finance? What if they're able to finance me for 10, 15 years, right? And that's a long term for me to make money on. And if I'm only putting $10,000 or $15,000 down, in reality, when you look at it as an end buyer, if he says, let's say we end up putting $15,000 to $20,000 down to cover closing costs, agent commission, and the money to the seller. Before there's an assignment fee, let's say $25,000 down, I get to make $500 or $600 a month. You annualize that, right? So 500 times 12 is 6,000, and 600 times 12 is 7,200. And you then do your numbers, right? If I put $25,000 down, a 10% cash on cash return is $2,500 yielded every year. So 20% would be 5,000. Well, if I was making 6,000 to 7,200, we're over 20%. That's still a deal. So automatically off the gate, if it goes right, if it goes this route, then it could make sense if we can get 1,100 to 1,200 bucks on this thing, if all the numbers make sense though. So I'd have to still run my numbers, and let's say I come to find out that the market rent is $1,000 bucks. Now we'd have to adjust it. We'd have to say, hey, this is what I can do and here's why. And, it hasn't been on market that long. So typically they're going to want to wait it out and probably get all cash. Another way that I would see if this would work would be if it is seller finance, instead of the Morby method, I would ask them, okay, well, how much money do you need down? Let's say they wanted 30 or 40. I would say, can you just pull a HELOC for 30 or 40 and then sell it to me with the HELOC and the remaining difference? And then I don't got to put money down anymore. I just take it over. And then obviously there's like 30 or 40 grand that has 8%, but 8% on 30 or 40 grand, it's only a few $100. And then if I can finance it for a little bit, I'd still make payments to their equity, something small as well. And then I get to make $400 or $500 a month without any money out of my pocket besides closing costs. And that's a deal. See, and that's me strategizing very quickly. Boom, boom, just shooting it out which ways. I don't want to go into that route because I'd rather do it this way with 10%. But let's say they come back and they say, I need more money down. I would ask them that. Can you go refinance? I mean, can you go and pull a HELOC for me? And pull out that 30 or 40 grand and then sell it to me this way. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. What do you guys think? Questions, Aaron?
I didn't even think about the whole Morby method with this one. I thought it would just be straight up, seller finance.
I wouldn't do the Morby method on this one. I would just do a HELOC. I would have them do a HELOC. So it's different. A Morby method is you getting a loan for 60 to 70%, and then having the seller carry the rest. But in there, as an actual end buyer, you actually have to bring the other difference so the loan can see your skin in the game. And so there's a transactional lender that will fund the deal for 1% of the money. So if somebody's giving me 100 grand for a day, I have to pay them 1% on that 100 grand, $1,000 for a 24-hour period, right? So at that moment, it's a little different. On a HELOC, it's like, yo, you go and pull a HELOC yourself, and then you're obviously going to owe whatever the HELOC, you're going to own that equity line of credit. You owe it, you owe them back that money, but sell it to me with that debt in place and then the equity difference. And then I make payments to both your HELOC and your equity, and I still make money in there. But that one's not a Morby method. That one's more of like, hey, you pull the HELOC. But I'm not going to pitch that until they come back to me and say no, or we decline, or here's my counter.
Okay, I was thinking HELOC and Morby method are like the same thing, but I guess they're not.
No, they're not. So a HELOC is you pulling equity out of your own property.
It's a loan against the house, right? Pretty much.
Basically, it's equity coming from your own house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, let's say your house is free and clear. Well, you have 100% equity, whatever the hell you sell the property for, it's 100% equity. Now, if there's a debt in place, it doesn't mean that it's 100% profit. It just means 100% equity. 100% profit is like, if you never paid for the house at all and you had a house, right? That's how it'd be 100% profit, but it's never really like that. You pay 100,000 for a house and now it's worth 200. The actual profit you would from what you bought it from would be 100 grand. If you bought it for 100,000, even if it was paid off, let's say it was worth 200 and you owed nothing on it, then there's $200,000 worth of equity, but it doesn't mean there's $200,000 worth of capital gain in there. It just means there's only $100,000 worth of capital gain, because at one point I did end up spending 100,000 for the house. And though I'm selling it for 200, I made 100% of my money back. I made 100 grand on top, but I didn't make $200,000 profit. I only made $100,000 profit, though it sold for double what I bought it for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. I know I speak quickly and I strategize very quickly. I run numbers all day, every day. So I see things quickly, but the more and more we get into this, the more I'm teaching you guys actually how to look at things as end buyers, which actually makes you guys way stronger on the phones when you're able to see things and communicate the same way. Watch it. Every time it's simple. How many times have you guys heard me battle somebody? It's usually like I have some type of other strategy to bring up, and then it becomes, okay, let me submit an offer. Cool. So that one is Judd.
Thanks, Carlos.
No problem, man. So submit offer. Aaron, do you want to submit that offer, or Dustin, you want to submit that offer? Is that from the CRM?
No, it's just one I found on my own. I could submit it.
Okay, cool. Just so I'll get with me in a little bit. Text me so then I keep you in the loop, and I'll show you how to submit offers.
Okay.
And we'll go and submit that offer like that and just go from there. And then what's next? I have an appointment with another seller in 10 minutes, guys. Wish me luck. Silos is a beast. Thank you. so much for dropping the gems. Okay, cool, Mason. Well, good luck, man. Go crush and make some money. Tag me in if you need me. Okay, I'll be available. All right. So Rigo, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, bro? I texted over that lead from yesterday.
My Instagram, right? Okay.
Yeah, and I texted it to you as well, just to make it easier.
You the best. All right, cool. Boom. Right down the street from my house. Sweet. Like an hour, but whatever. Like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Good touch. Okay, so let me read the notes real quick. Would you be? All right, you know what? Just catch me up to speed on this before I go, because I'm just reading questions.
Yeah, so the first part I sent you over is what the information my cold caller gathered.
Okay.
So basically, he says he doesn't owe a mortgage, but you know, from what I pulled on batch, it says he does. And he just got it in February. Let's see what else. He has it right now. He's had it for about 29 days, listed for rent, for 3,100. You know, basically, he just said, I pitched that creative finance to him, told him you could possibly get a masking price, things like that. He said the house is recently rehabbed as well, and you know, he said, you know, he's interested in moving forward with that, but just, you know, kind of wants to go over the numbers today.
Oh, sweet. So he's open.
Yes. Yeah, he was pretty on board with it. So I did explain, you know, the performance mortgage deed and how, you know, we're gonna balloon them out, you know, around 7 years, 7 to 10 years, and things like that. So he had a pretty good idea.
Cool. Did you guys talk about purchase price and money down?
No money down yet. I told him, you know, we could see what we can do, but just because, you know, how things are right now, and then especially if we're going to be giving them that asking price, we're going to have to look into it a bit. But the purchase price, you know, I said we'll see if we could get him to that, what he was asking, which was the, let's see, 550.
550,000. Okay.
Yeah.
550 racks, huh? All right.
Yeah, there's actually one down the street from him that just, it's pending. It's been listed since September for 515. I think they just sold it for 515.
It's his.
No, it's like right down the street from him. It's just a comp.
Okay. So let's see. Bringing it up. Damn, it's a big house. Nice. Okay. So let me just take a look at one thing. All right, let me call this guy. You said there was one that sold for how much down the street?
515. What's pending at least?
Let's see. I'll make the for sale and then see. Okay. All right. Let's rock on. All right, I'm gonna call Dennis up.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, Dennis? This is Carlos. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Say that again. I could barely hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm in a very shady situation right now, so I'll get you another one, please.
Okay. You do. You're aware that I was calling on behalf of Rigo.
Thank you very much.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah,
Hey,
I think he
can
said
hear you.
I sent him a text a little earlier, so I think I just heard him say right now that he just saw the text or something like that.
Okay, we'll just let him know that I'm gonna call him tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, yeah, it sounded like he was a little busy, but I couldn't really hear him that much. So that one is a call back for tomorrow. All right. Give me a call. You guys have another leader? I got a couple leads I can call real quick. Oh, look at, I got one right here in Keita's backyard, right here in Indianapolis. That's wrong.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, Ken? This is Carlos. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good, and you?
Good, good. Hey, I called yesterday, but you're a little bit busy, and I was calling on behalf of my associate, Daniel. He had spoke to you about your property off of Inglemoor Street in Indiana.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just touching base. I work with him. I typically underwrite and write the checks for the properties that we buy. Did I catch you at a good time? You have a few minutes?
Sure.
Cool. So I believe he let me know that you'd be open to selling on seller finance. Is that still the case?
Well, I didn't think I left that impression at all. I told him we're not in any rush to sell it, but and we want to try and get the best dollar we possibly can. But I don't know. Tell me what it's all about, and I'll say if I'm truly interested. I've heard different ways of doing it before. So what's your angle?
Sure. So typically as me being an investor, not a homestead buyer that won't move in there myself, my cash purchase, I'd have to ask some questions about conditions, but typically I'd have to have some type of discount, some wiggle room where I could renovate it and then flip it for a profit. So, and like how you said, hey, you're not in a rush, you're looking for the right number. Reason why I'm also not buying cash at market prices due to the rates, and the rates then as a landlord, it doesn't let me make profits, right? So the way it works is I'm able to be the person that can pay those asking prices or a little bit more and sometimes give you a little bit extra money on top. The way it works for me is typically we come to an agreement on a purchase price, and at times there's going to be money down. And then the way it works is I make payments to your remaining equity, and then whatever my payment is to you, it just needs to be less than what market rent is. So then I make some money since I'm paying closer to an asking price.
So you're probably talking 4 or 5% at the best, right?
Say that again.
You're probably talking what, 4 or 5% monthly or so?
Yeah. So like, what do you think that the market rent, like if I were to go ahead and turn around and rent this thing out, what do you think I can bring in on this thing?
Well, if you built a third bedroom, I think you can get over 1,000.
Okay. And if we left it as is at a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, and I maybe touched it up, I think I had.
Well, I mean, it's cosmetics, yeah.
Because it needs some cosmetic work, right?
Yeah, and the bathroom definitely needs. Some tiles are starting to come out the wall, and they're antiquated, and the floor, it did have a slow moving toilet, and it's ran over a couple of times, so it probably needs some, refresh there too, the flooring and whatnot. Not major expense, but it could be replaced. I mean, you can buy this stuff down the street from Habitat, which actually this Habitat has all brand new fixtures, sinks and toilets and even shower stalls, small shower stalls that you get an entire shower. Normally it'd be about $1,000, you know, in Lowe's or somewhere. Here you can get it for $250. So you can get it for the cheap, but I don't know the term. How long a term were you talking?
Well, all I really need is, so I used to be able to do super short terms. It's just since I'm waiting for rates to come down and the market to stabilize, I'm closer to like 5+ years, 5 to 7 minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
Work with you at all?
No, it won't. I think I told Daniel that too. That my brother, he's in partnership with me on these things, and one, I don't think he'd go for it, period. But two, he's cheaper than I am, and he wants the highest salary possibly can for the least amount of time. So
What's the least term? What's the least term?
I can't see his mind, but like I say, we're hovering around 60. But I know with the rehab that you need to do, you're not going to be able to touch it.
So this is what I'm thinking, right? So terms of the way that I like to go about this one sounds like it's actually like a little bit of a project, almost like it could be like a fix and flip. So like typically when I do buy on terms, typically I can be the one that even pays you, that higher price that you're looking for. And I know you're not in a rush, so I'm not here to overcome anything if you're not open to working with me. But one way to look at it is if I do give you a higher purchase price today, I believe it'll be the highest purchase price since we are in, this market, this like recession market, kind of like 2008, right? It took us 10 to 12 years for the market prices to come up. So if I was able to give you a higher price, maybe a little bit of interest on it, so you made more money over time, that would be obviously the higher price that would make sense for you since you're not in a rush. And then the difference is from being a landlord to being the bank is you don't actually have to save money.
Right. I see something like that right now here. Maybe heard of Ben buys houses.
Oh,
and
okay.
I get it. I get a 9% return. I get a 9% return off of him.
There you go. So I do something similar, like where I borrow people's money or I look to buy houses this way and then I re-rent them out or sell them out for like a higher term. So I'd have to make some money in it. But if the term option doesn't sound too attractive, because I would need a little bit longer than short term. I wouldn't go 3 years. I would need at least 5+ years. That would work or not work?
No. My brother, like I say, he did set against and that's long term because we're both over 65. We bought a place in Florida. I don't know if I told this story, but we wanted to be down in Florida. We're just trying to get rid of a little bit of baggage and be done with that, and the others will feed us well. The other 16 I have. So
what do you think? So let me ask you this, if I were to renovate this to get it market ready, what do you think it could be sold for in the as is 2-1? And then if we did a 3-1 on it, what do you think it would sell for? So I might have another opportunity.
Take a look at the Zillow thing and you use run your own numbers, but I think you could probably get maybe 90 or 100 out of it. I would think. You could bring up the local numbers, and houses sold in the area. I'm sure you're that savvy to figure that out and take it from there.
Okay,
that can give you a better idea.
So what if I did something like this, where it's a little bit more attractive for you and it's in a shorter period of time? What if I was able to maybe partner with you and your brother? I come in with my money, I renovate it, bring my crews. So I spend the money to renovate it. Then we throw it on the market together. Then we sell it at that maximum premium price. We pay the agents. And then I pay you the set amount that we agree to. And then I get to reimburse myself for the money down and things like that. Would that work if it was only if I needed to borrow if I only needed to do this for like 60 days or maybe it's 4 months or 6 months?
I know. You're only talking to half the team here and my brother. But like I say, I don't know if he'd go for something like that, but
Well,
he's in
here's
Florida
where it
right now.
benefits you too, because like it's not gonna take a long time. Like basically, I would come and do the fix and flip part without having to pay out of my pocket the full price, like whether it's 50 or 60,000. What if I was
Yeah.
coming in and I got to renovate it for 15,000? We listed it for 100, we sold it, and then I get to reimburse myself, make a little bit of change, and then you guys get the asking.
Well, there you go. And I know what you're saying, but what that is, I can give you his phone number if you want to. After when he gets back, I can give you his phone number right now,
Okay.
and you pass the idea on to him.
Okay.
And tell him, you can talk to me and stuff, but
Because I have a lot of ways. I do have a lot of ways I can buy it. My cash offer would be a lot less though, because it is unstable market and rates and things like that. So it would be like 35,000 or something like that.
yeah,
Which
well,
probably is not exciting for you at all. And so I want
No.
to also achieve a goal of yours. So I was thinking, I have a few different ways, and maybe if I can talk to your brother, maybe.
well, we're looking for the shortest term with the most amount of return on it.
I think that would be the
Okay,
best route
so-
if I was able to come to agreement with you and your brother and letting me come in and just pay for the rent
Well-
and listing it might be the best.
You can talk to him, but I don't know. I'm not too hip on that idea.
So then what if you
uh,
didn't sell it for the price you were looking for? What would be the next step? To just renovate it yourself and rent it out?
possibly, we've done it for 30 years. We're just getting tired of doing it. But I mean, cosmetics is nothing for us. Paint, paper,
okay.
carpet, those cabinets, and even a remodel for the bathroom. We could do it ourselves if worst case come of it.
No, and it makes
And,
sense for you
which
too. Is this
And we
is
can
it
hire
free and
cheap
clear?
help too.
Is it
And we
free?
can hire cheap help too. So,
There you go. Is it free and clear?
oh yeah, we all our houses cash, so we got
Okay.
plenty of
There
money.
you go. Yeah,
There's
then
no need.
you'll make good money on it that way. Here's the only thing I can
Right.
think, that if you did sell it to me, that you would get the highest purchase price over the next decade. And I don't know if you want to be a landlord for the next 5 or 10 years, or just take a loan.
Well, the contracts run for 2 years, and if they're good players, we let them re-up. But now that we're getting older, we want to get rid of them. So when the contracts are up, we'll tell them to get off the pot. More or less, get your financing, and every 2 years we jack the house payment up anyway. So we have nothing to lose. And
Right,
everything's done.
The only thing is, I'm thinking
So-
in 2 years, if you, let's say that they didn't execute on the purchase, that the market would be less than what it is today. That's
Or worst case, we leave the Florida and we set up our own management staff to all we got to do is collect, because
there
the
you go.
contract states that they have to take care of everything else.
Right,
It's
100%.
nuts.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
and I do the same thing as you. So I'm not here to hassle with you. I'm just trying to see if I could
Right.
pick this up and add another property to my portfolio, or just some more change in my pocket, either or.
Yeah.
So then what's your
Well-
brother's name and what's his number?
His name is Stephen Bringle,
Okay, Steven, and what's his
and
name?
his number. Did you get that, Stephen Bringle?
Brindle, okay.
Bringle with a G.
Oh, Brangle.
Like a
Okay.
chip, like a potato chip, only with a B. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and his number is, let me think, 317-760-4414.
317-760-4414.
Yep.
Okay, and is he on some type of vacation? You said when he comes back.
Yeah, about 2-3 days.
Okay, 2 or 3 days, and maybe if I go over a few things with him and then get you guys both on a call, and hey, it may work, it may not. I mean, you guys are already in a good spot. You guys know what you're doing anyways, so it may not work.
Right.
It may. So we'll see. We can go from there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
Ken,
see what.
do you have any
gets,
other?
I mean.
Do you have any other properties that maybe might fit my scenario?
No, that's the only one. Like I said, we turned over 7 of them so far this year, and the others are pretty solid on contract right now. There might be something coming up later on next year, but nothing as it goes right now.
Okay, cool, man. Well, if it happens to work, great. If not, no worries.
Very good.
Cool, Ken.
Okay, well, all right. You have a good one.
You too, man. Good night. Bye.
Now we'll see you. Bye.
And sometimes it's the way it goes. He's in a good spot, free and clear. Been doing it for 30 years. He understands it. He's pretty savvy investor. But at the same time, it doesn't mean I'm not going to go in there and then let him know what's true. What is true is the fact that you lock it up today, you're going to get the highest price, unless you're trying to be a landlord over the next 10 years, which is free and clear. It's 100% cash on cash for him. So I like to bring up the marketplace. Hey, you know, if I was able to make you more money and give you the purchase price you're looking for, don't you think it's going to be the highest price? And I said, what are you going to do if you don't sell it and get your price? I'm just going to rent it out again. But don't you not want to do that type of thing? And so I'm not going to just fold right away just because he doesn't sound interested. I'm going to also go in there and just also bring up benefits, bring up what I think that's going around in the marketplace. Hey, okay, the only way I can do short term, I pitched Novation. I just broke it down earlier in the call, right? I broke down Novation, how it worked. Same thing. I broke down Novation. He can't make a decision 100% on his own, which is it's totally fine. So I have to call his brother and see. And in the end, it may not work at all. But what happens if it does, right? Got to add that to my portfolio, make a little bit more change in my pocket. That's what I do. I'm a capitalist. I go for it. I'm not like the average person who's going to hear a slight no and then let it go. Because typically I pick up those properties from other wholesalers who let them go because they don't know nothing besides a script that they had purchased. That's it. Any questions on that, guys?
Would Novations be the best idea or ideal for the exit strategy for this one?
Yeah, because he doesn't want to carry a term for 5 years or anything. 3 years or not, you know, he was like, it's too long. So like, I'm thinking, I don't want to go and offer a Morby method for this little home and crap. It's not exciting for me to do that. Because in the end, he still have to carry the term for me. So I'm thinking the Novation would be the easiest thing. Like he said, he wanted 60. I did look at some properties. I think that it could be 90 to 100 and 110,000, but that's right now. We don't know in 3 to 4 months if it's going to take 2 to 3 months to get it renovated. It's a small house, like under 1,000 square feet. It might take a month and a half or so. But what if the market price is 100 grand, 90 grand? So I have to offer him like 40 to 50. I don't know if that'll work, but in reality, 40 to 50, put 15 grand in to then list it for 90 or 100. That might make sense. And it might only make $10,000-$15,000 on the Novation, maybe a little bit more, but you know, I'm just trying to see what would work instead of give up right away. You get me? And then at the end, if he were to agree, and then I did put the numbers on paper or a calculator, and I found out it still doesn't work, then oh well, it still didn't work. But I got to go in there. I got to practice. I got to go in and shoot my strategies. I got to go in there and learn to see if it was going to work or not. He knows that I'm a serious buyer, that I'm also a savvy investor. So it's just potential opportunity for me then instead of just letting it go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Plus, you're building that relationship with him in case he has something else in the future, you know?
Long-term follow-up. He's getting older.
Yeah.
In the end, people don't got to get excited. Like, you know how many deals I've closed that have literally no excitement, no motivation? That's what's cool about creative financing is you buy all the no motivation ones. Anybody who learned about wholesaling, everybody knows that you have to find motivation. Yeah, that's if you're looking for a cash offer. I've bought in multiple deals that are at market or over market price. That means no motivation for a discount. And some of them didn't have, like, yeah, some were pre-foreclosures, some they just bought and they needed to move. But some of them were like, nah, I just don't want to give them a discount. Nah, I don't want to do that just because I don't want to. All right, cool. Then let's just lock it up this way. So I've bought a lot of deals creatively that had no distress at all or no problems. They just didn't want to lower the price. But cash offer people who only wholesale cash offer deals, they only have one strategy. You only have one strategy to use in a downshifting market. It's a lot harder for you guys right now to lock up properties when everybody in the beginning of the year was locking up properties that didn't even make fucking sense. I'll tell you the truth. A lot of wholesalers now are eating ass, like fucking not doing shit anymore because a lot of them weren't great wholesalers. What was happening was hedge funds and buyers were paying up to 92% of ARV minus repairs. And people were locking them up at fucking 85, 90%. And that's why I've seen so many people continue that same repetition. That, remember how I tell you guys, practice doesn't make perfect, but it makes permanent. Where people have practiced for the last 6 months, or in the beginning for 6 months, they've practiced to lock up deals that never made sense, but just because the market was high, and investors were paying really high, and hedge funds were paying like 100% because they're in it for the long-term game, that people were locking up with like no wiggle room. So then when the market kind of crashed and went unstable and rates went up, those same wholesalers were still doing the same thing, locking up properties at 80 to 90%. And then nobody was buying them because that's all they thought they can do. They thought they can continue the same thing. I've talked to lots of wholesalers who lost out so much over these last 6 months that were forced to learn creative financing to pick up the same volume, because now most end buyers are at 40, 50, 60% ARV, no longer at 80 to 92% ARV. And so people were forced to adapt, otherwise just take a lot less deals every month. That's the truth. And that's why I think creative financing is super powerful. And it's not just seller finance sub two. I just wrote down a whole bunch of crap for you guys today. This is a good recorded call. But it's just so powerful because we are in a recession, market rates are high, prices are coming down, it's very unstable. Creative financing is going to be very powerful over the next 5 years. What are we at, like 700% foreclosures or whatever? We're up 700% in foreclosures. I could buy all those foreclosures. I could buy the ones in an auction. I can stop the auction. I could go ahead and buy little to no equity, the ones that the homeowner doesn't want to take a discount on, the ones that the homeowners want to make more money than makes sense, the ones that the homeowner wants to make interest on top of their money. I can do all of that. When you're a wholesaler, you can't. I mean, when you're a cash only wholesaler, you can't do any of that crap. When you learn how to do everything else, everything can be locked up and then still wholesaled. Everything can be locked up and still wholesaled. So then you can add it to your wholesale opportunity in your business. But if you don't understand how to pitch it, and you don't understand the other strategies besides just pitching terms, without understanding, is it going to make sense long-term rental, short-term rental, on a wrap, on a lease option, on a novation? If you don't understand those other strategies, you're still going to be stuck with only looking at long-term rental. And okay, that might be the only way. Right here, we teach a lot of crap. We close a lot of deals now. Our team does, not just me or Mason, Rigo. Like we're coming in pretty clutch, and right off the gates in 2023, we're gonna crush it. And I want everybody in here to stay in proximity and crush it, because there's no reason why you can't. Like, you guys probably learned a lot today on some new stuff. Morby method, Novations. I pitched both of them today. Besides cash offers and creative finance offers. We did a whole bunch today, right? You guys think today's calls were pretty beneficial? I guess not, huh? I guess I'm the only one that gets excited about calls. I'm like a kid.
Sorry, bro. It's just loud over here. Yeah. I mean, every
No
time I
worries.
join, I learn something new. So
Cool. Well, guys, thank you guys for showing up today. I got a couple things that I got to do. We'll get back at it tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, remember, we have Vina Jetty coming in to showcase multifamily at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Get into the Facebook group. You can find the Zoom link there. Get into my Facebook, my personal page. You'll find the Zoom link there. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning in the Breakfast Club, or at the multifamily Zoom, or in the afternoon closing your guys' deals. Okay.
that's good, man. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you, Anthony and Keita, for showing up for the first times. Appreciate you guys. What's up, Adrian? How you doing?
Thanks, Carlos.
Thanks
Have
for
a good-
having me.
Absolutely, guys. Enjoy yourselves. Good night.